Hi there, welcome to the Carr Brothers Show. It's episode 117. I'm Jack.
And I'm Jeff.
And I'm Jody, the third of the three Carr brothers. We're so pleased that you're here tonight. And actually, I'm quite pleased I'm here tonight. It's been a couple of weeks maybe that I've been able to get over here. And we've got a fantastic evening tonight, don't we, boys?
Mm-hmm. Yes, we do. New Maryland councillor, radio host, weekly radio host of a rock show, and a volunteer extraordinaire. We have Tim Scammell, longtime friend of ours as well, and many of yours as well. So thanks,
Thank you
Tim.
very much. Glad to be here.
Well, how do you do it? How long have you been a city? You've been a village councillor. You've had some major projects that you've worked on in the Fredericton region. And then your CHSR weekly radio show with, I guess it's Progressive Rock it's called, and some other things we'll talk about.
Well, and the boys playing sports all the way up through that time too.
Yeah,
That's why I left council, because I was missing some sports back then here and there, and I thought I'm going to take a break.
And then, that's a busy time when you're following the hockey rinks and the ball diamonds.
Yeah. How many years have you served on council? Must be 15. Would it be, or 12 or 15?
Yeah. When did you first get elected? How did this get started?
Well, you know what? I've got that written down in here somewhere.
Oh, perfect.
What council, when, and
It's funny too.
Well, because I'm not good with dates like I used to be.
Right.
Well, but
2008. It was 2008.
Yeah.
I was
Wow,
supposed to
really?
2008.
When you first got elected.
Yeah.
That's when you first got elected
Yes.
provincially too.
That's when we first met, really. I think
Exactly.
you were either running or you were new council, and I was running, and
we all ran together.
You all
Yeah,
ran
we all ran together.
Wow. How have things changed on council over time? Obviously, news coverage, social media, and all that stuff. But just how has council progressed?
I think it's definitely improved. In the beginning days, I didn't find it was as respectful as it is now. So it's definitely improved over time.
You mean from the people, the voters, were kind of respecting the job?
Not even, it's just within
Amongst
too. There would be
yourselves,
some counselors that
team.
are out to trip you up when you're on the air, and
yes.
and we made the rule. We said, don't do that.
Right.
Be nice and don't ask Tim dates.
Don't put them on the spot like that. Don't hang them out to
because he can't
dry.
do it.
Yeah. That's good.
But it's improved, and as far as all the social media and stuff, that their information is out there, and but we pick and choose what we reply to and what we don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I see the village though now really. You're I wouldn't say aggressively, but development is really something that you guys seem to be focused on.
Yeah.
You applied for RDC funding for your well, but you see zoning meetings and bylaw changes all the time there. And it seems like it's a team effort to move in that direction.
For sure, and it's things like any sort of development or any projects. We insist that the public knows about it, and if there's going to be a meeting, we'll blast it out there. In the old days, I guess it was just sort of in the newspaper.
True. Maybe shy
now-
away a little bit from
But now it's everywhere, so we like people to be there and have their input.
Oh yeah, it only benefits in the long run that you have they hear it right from the horse's mouth and get as many people in the meeting as possible. So
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
good. What do you like about being on council? What's the drive for you?
Yeah.
It's funny. I was telling your producer whatever there earlier. I think it's making my kids proud. That's the biggie. Like you guys know my kids, and
Yes.
they'll actually say proud of you. And that's why I'm in it.
Well, there's probably no better feeling than when they say "proud of you, Dad." That's
Yeah,
a great initiative.
that's
but
huge.
it's also mutual though too, because I can see a lot of times you'll share. And right from when we first met, the boys came along with you all over, and you really included them, but also promoting their ambitions and their activities. So it's kind of, you're probably equally...
Much to their chagrin sometimes. Like, I'll post something, and then I'll get a message right away saying, delete that.
Yeah.
So,
But that's your pride.
duly noted. Yeah. So,
Pride. I mean, they're musicians are well educated.
yeah.
They do a lot of different things, and
Yeah.
they were hard workers, I would say.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Good kids. I call them kids, but they're not kids anymore.
Yeah,
Like
25,
26.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Holy mackerel.
Yeah, I know.
Twins.
Yeah.
Twins. In case our viewers don't know, Tim and Cheryl had a set of twins,
We do.
twin boys. So I don't know most people even know what that's like to have a set of
But
twins.
these guys, you must. It's a different dynamic, right?
Oh, definitely.
And
Oh, yeah.
you guys have a relationship that nobody else could ever have.
Yeah.
No, that's right.
And
Yeah.
they do too. You know, that's pretty cool.
It is. Yep.
Well, that's good. And yeah, so with council, any upcoming initiatives or what's on the go on the burner right now?
Well, I made some notes if you want to hear them.
Yeah,
Yes,
sure.
yes,
People
yes.
are just anxious
Yes,
here.
yes.
Here we go. That's why I have these papers
I got
here.
to keep up with my council to see
Jeepers.
what's going on in my riding here.
The well, you know, we were designated age friendly.
Oh, yes.
You know that's a couple years ago.
That was a big
Yeah,
deal.
it is.
We've recently rebranded and renamed the Seniors Advisory Committee to the Age Friendly because we're trying to entice youth to join the committee and have their input instead of just being seniors. We'd love to have some youth join in, so we're trying to bring them in.
How's that going? Is it just a fresh start at
It's
that?
fresh.
Yep.
So we haven't
Still
had
new.
any bites yet.
Yeah. But
But-
it's new.
Yeah.
It's new.
Okay.
So I'm thinking maybe the kids are just too busy with school and stuff right now to
Yeah.
think about things like that.
Well,
and-
there's a good group of keen young people living in New Maryland. So
yeah, there are. So I'm surprised I haven't seen anything
you
yet.
get
but-
there.
What is the population of New Maryland,
Oh,
roughly?
geez.
Is it 5,000, 40?
It's under
between 4 and
5.
5?
Yeah, 4,500
Yeah.
to 5,000.
And New Maryland, just outside of Fredericton,
Yes.
borders on the city of Fredericton for anyone watching across the country.
Yeah.
And the weather's
some
always
Yorkshire.
beautiful and sunny. And
Always beautiful. And
Yeah.
the last
Flowers are
known,
always blooming.
always.
the place of the last known gunfight, I guess.
That's great.
Duel.
Yes.
Don't you love
last
that?
duel.
Oh
The
man,
last
we
duel.
killed. Yeah.
I think that's a quite fascinating history.
It is.
Yeah, but is it something you really want to slap on a sign on the Trans-Canada Highway to show people? Yeah, we shoot people here, and they'll get away with it.
A lot of them probably did that back
What
then.
else?
Oh yes, please.
council.
Age friendly?
You know about the Sunrise Wellfield Development
Of
Project.
course, yes,
'Cause
and-
that's our biggie. Once we get that
It is.
that water hooked in,
And
It seems like you guys are always working on water and
Well,
waste,
you
wastewater.
can't expand if you don't have water.
But
fresh
huge
water.
strides.
Well, that's
so-
the reason then, must be
know.
because you're expanding.
Yeah,
to
huge,
take-
huge
Trying to.
strides.
But to take that to take
Don't
that
take
step,
this as a criticism. I'm just
No.
saying it just seems like you're always building, always
Always.
working on it.
we're trying to.
Well, it's been a long time.
Private
Really,
tax
the
base.
Sunrise Project's been a long time coming.
Yep.
hasn't it?
Yeah.
And,
And
and
it's
there's
been-
always something challenging about it. But
Yeah,
I know, but
because it'll be interesting because Jeff and Jack, Jeff's the current member of the legislature for New Maryland, and Jack was a former member of New Maryland. And even though New Maryland's right handy, I mean, I'm not as intricately aware of all these things.
right.
So
Find this interesting.
find it
chance.
interesting. I may ask questions that seem so obvious to you three at the table.
we're going to shake our heads.
Yes.
Oh, read the news.
We'll help
Jody.
the county. But yeah, but water, there's a lot of strides going ahead.
Well, because we've got buildings that they're ready to be built, but we've got to get water to them.
Right.
Right.
And now you're
Like
making
permit,
progress.
building permits, new buildings. Like how much?
Well,
have
we've got an
we-
apartment.
You need water supply.
Apartment? Of course we have an apartment. I should have known we have an
There's going to
apartment.
be, well, I'm hoping there'll be 2 apartments.
Okay.
You know, one of them has already been approved. The other one is going through.
Like how many units?
The first one is 20 something,
Awesome.
right down
That's
the road
awesome.
from my house,
Yeah.
which I'm okay with.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And the other one, 10.
Okay.
Like, but
Still.
it's like townhouses.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's great.
But it's tasteful. It's nice.
Well,
Oh,
for
yeah,
council to take that step and invest the money
Housing is such a need.
to match the dollars, the third, I think it was, for the infrastructure money. It's a big
For the
deal.
Wellfield, yeah.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
Yeah.
And to go through that, and I know there was a little bit of negativity out of the subdivision there around, at the start of it.
You
'cause
remember
they-
that, do you?
Oh yes, of course I do. I have all the email lists, and I was the Minister of Environment at the time, so
Right.
I was getting the same petitioning, but just to go to the public meetings that you guys would have and share as much information, I think you did it right, and quelled a lot of the.
we're very lucky that way that our staff is pretty sharp. And Rob Perot in particular, he will go to these public sessions and he'll talk it calmly and gives all the information we need, and he's very sharp.
Yeah.
We're very lucky to have him.
That's good.
That helps.
Good team.
I guess you know about the athletic park redevelopment project.
Well, tell us a
tell us
little bit
about
about that.
Well, I only have a little bit of it because
Yeah.
we're examining funding avenues right now.
Okay.
An athletic park, is that right near the school? Is that what
Yep,
it's,
right beside it.
the field
Soccer
is
field?
and
Is there a
the
soccer
ice
field
rink
there?
would be and right there?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, right in
Couple
there.
ball
gonna-
diamonds, soccer field.
You're going to build an ice rink?
Is that what you said?
No, we're not going to build an ice rink.
Oh, no.
No, but we will ice up
I thought I heard Jack
surfaces.
say ice.
Yeah,
Well,
he's,
they have an outdoor
There's an
rink.
outdoor
in the
rink.
winter.
Oh, the outdoor
yes,
rink.
the outdoor.
Silly.
It's in the tennis courts.
There'll be riots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're doing a redevelopment project or experiment research to see about funding options.
Yes, and
Okay.
that the funding options will also determine what exactly the project consists of, because
Scope of it, yeah.
we've had some estimates. It's a little steep,
Yeah.
so we might have to cut some things here and there, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's coming. We have an ongoing tree planting reforestation project throughout
Oh, I didn't know
the
that.
village. Yep. And Communities in Bloom initiative. This is good for Michelle. I'm pushing this for her. They have categories including community appearance, environmental action, heritage conservation, tree management, landscape, plant, and floral displays.
And is
So-
that the, on the village's initiative, or is it part
Yes.
of a wider?
It's
Okay,
the
good.
village.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Good
We
job.
also have the
Drive through the village, it just looks neat and tidy.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We like our
Colorful.
flowers.
Yeah,
Those
yeah.
planters,
No.
yeah.
A little
Yeah.
bumpy,
And the,
a little bumpy on the drive-through, but
Yeah,
we've got
just
some news coming
look at
up
the
for that,
flowers while
too.
you bump through.
Well, and
Well,
I-
it's
Well,
going
the
to be
traffic
paved.
through there
It will
must
be.
be
It will
busy,
be paved.
busy.
It
Must
is
be one of the
busy.
busiest roads around. I mean,
Highway
I would
101,
say.
yes, the
You'd
Maryland
think,
Highway.
Yeah, the provincial road
traffic.
going through there. And
Probably,
It's the
probably
truck.
one of the busiest going to the city.
beyond
That and
outside
Hamel Road.
my house in Burton.
Right.
But
You know what I like in the village as well is on the lamp on the main 101. Maybe they have them on the sides. I haven't noticed, but the lamp posts
Solar?
and the light.
The solar lights.
They're very nice.
Yeah, and they have a nice light.
Yep. I like that. Just sharp. It's sharp.
Yeah, and it's great for people walking.
Yeah.
Up and down New Maryland Highway.
Well, there's really lots going on. There's been a lot in the past, a lot of success.
Mm-hmm.
It's great, and it's good to have you involved in all these years to have that continuity.
Yeah.
To help maybe some of the new councillors and things like that. So
We have the community garden every year,
okay.
and that is booked up. It always fills up every year.
so what?
Where's
Tell us
that
about
located?
how does that work?
Yeah.
People.
Well, the residents will just contact the office and say, I'd like one of these gardens,
Okay.
and we say yes or whatever, and it's down at the back of.
Oh, so they can get a plot to grow vegetables.
Yeah, and they can grow their own
Oh,
vegetables.
is it
and
behind
Which street?
Sunrise.
Sunrise?
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Subdivision,
Sunrise
yes,
subdivision
exactly.
back there.
Yeah.
It's a great idea.
Oh yeah, and it always fills up.
No kidding.
And they look
Wait
just
list
that
of that.
each person looks after their own. Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
that's good.
Nice.
Pay X
Don't
amount
steal
of
from your
money.
neighbors. Don't they? Those tomatoes look good, but they're not for you.
Okay. Okay.
You know.
That would be really cool.
Well, that's good. Well, let's shift gears and
Yeah, do it.
And talk about your radio show. You're up over 50 episodes now, I think.
53 in the can.
Wow, that's awesome. And it's on CHSR Radio.
Right.
And it's a weekly show in progressive rock. Tell us,
And
how'd that all
what
come
number
to
on
be?
the dial is
Yeah,
that?
we know.
97.9.
Right, right, right.
CHSR 97.9.
On that
That's
FM.
right.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it started out being, well, this city is devoid of radio stations which will play things like Rush and Yes and things like that. And the station manager there, I'd always been sort of jokingly poking her, saying, can you play some Rush? And she made it clear that it's really not her bag, and she doesn't dig that. So when she said, she tweeted out one day, says, anyone have any ideas for a show? Funny you mentioned that. I do.
I've only mentioned it a few times. but-
Yeah, but it was started out as strictly prog rock, but now it's sort of evolved into whatever the heck I've heard lately that I like.
Okay.
Perfect.
And I have musicians and managers actually contacting me now.
To get played.
Yeah, and sending me music, which is
Oh,
cool.
okay.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah.
When is this show? Like what time? What time?
What time?
Saturday
is it?
afternoons at 3 o'clock, and also the following Tuesday at 7 o'clock in the morning. So just in time for drive time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, and then and you have a Facebook page.
Yes, I do.
And what's the show called?
Testing for Echo,
Testing
which
for-
is an homage to the Rush album Test for Echo.
Oh, okay.
I just thought it sounded cool.
Well, you've got great. I was on it today, and I joined the Facebook page, liked it, I guess,
thank you.
followed it, whatever I did. But and you have a good following, it seems, and people listen, and it must be very.
I get about 1,500 hits because we do measure the hits that come onto the blog page, and you
Yeah.
hit it and go and listen to it. So it's working.
That is.
And people could probably listen live on the website. Yeah.
Absolutely. That's
So-
how I get my international audience.
Yeah, CHSR.ca. I don't know.
You know what? It's best just yeah.
Just Google it. Okay, good.
Google.
That's the best thing to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you'll see the testing for echo has its
Testing for
own
that Google thing.
section.
Test-
So you can go back.
Listen to
You can go back and listen to others.
Oh,
the
the
past shows.
episodes?
Yeah, but
Oh, that's awesome.
it's limited because our computer space is
storage. Yeah.
yeah, it's donated.
Okay.
And
So-
how long have you been doing this?
2 years.
Two.
Okay.
Yep, 2 years now. And the first episode was interesting. Back when I was in high school, one night the school had a band called Night Winds come in and play, and I always thought these
What high
guys.
school? Where would you go?
A.Y. Jackson Secondary School in North York, Ontario.
Ontario. Okay.
Yep. And I thought this band is very cool, but they never went anywhere. They didn't even put out their album really. And so I sort of became friends with one of the members on Facebook, and we became pals and communicated. So when I started the show, I thought, why not have him on there? And he was the first show. Like it was just him and me listening to the band's music.
And then talking about the songs.
Oh
and
yeah,
bands.
but he knew stuff about people, like all the musicians back then in Toronto. It was crazy.
That's cool.
So it was very, very cool.
Cool.
That was a great kickoff show. Then that must have given you like a real good boost to
Yeah.
continue on. And
Yeah, and that's one that I can listen back to and I don't cringe as much, as some of the others. So.
well, it takes a while to get used to your voice
Oh,
or what
yeah.
have you, listening to it. And what have you learned over the last 2 years about doing this show?
Well, exactly how to use your voice and not. Like I wish I could go back and re-record many of them,
Right.
but I'm good now. I'm good now.
That's awesome.
I've got it.
Just
practice.
we just move
Yeah.
forward.
I
Just
think
move
it's
forward.
great that you bit that off and
Yeah.
and started doing your show.
I love my Saturday mornings. Saturday mornings, I get up. This is my timetable on Saturday.
Okay.
I get up, I go get some gas, go to the coffee meeting, the Mazuka's coffee meeting,
Right. And yeah.
and then I go to the gym, and then I go to the station. And I'm the only one in there. There's never anybody in there. So I'm my own engineer, producer, everything. I do it all.
Do it all, and it's live. It's
No.
live.
No, that's the
okay.
trick.
Okay.
I
right.
could not.
Do it
I
all.
listen to some of the people that do live shows and think, I could not do that.
You're doing it.
I
all.
like to have it written out.
Yeah.
Take my
Planned
time.
and-
I'll say
prepared.
something. I'll go, delete. Go back and do it again.
But you'll load it in and load it up and record it Saturday mornings.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
The Saturday
So-
show.
And you just don't show up and do your show. Like you'd have to put some planning into this, your playlists and things
Yeah,
like this, and
absolutely.
decide what you want to do. How much time would you?
Oh,
do
here's
that?
the trick,
Did you
too.
think about it all week? Obviously, probably
Yes.
think about it.
Yes, but I have to. We've got a rule of being public radio. I can't play songs that are top 40 or have ever been in top 40
Or ever been?
unless they're live.
Oh, wow.
If it's a live version of a song, I can use it. But I can't take one of the big hits,
hits.
like Tom Sawyer from Rush and slap it. But if they play it live and I have a recording of it, then I'll put that in,
Okay.
and that's okay.
Huh.
So that's a challenge. I
Yeah.
have to be careful. Sometimes I've been tempted and, going to slap something in. I go, wait a second. I do the Wikipedia search and no, it hit number 25. So I guess I won't use that.
Wow, that makes it even more challenging.
Yeah.
It's even more limiting.
Yep.
And the CHSR, do they have the Canadian content
Yes.
law as well?
Yes.
30% has to be
Yep.
Canadian content. So
Yeah, I always strive for 40%.
good, just
know.
to be sure
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, it's very.
Yeah, we do have the rules.
Yeah.
Well, it shows that you're not shy to do new things.
I always wanted to be a DJ. I always wanted to be on the air.
Yeah.
And this is a nice little way of doing it and getting that out of my system. And,
Yeah, and it's fulfilling and
yeah.
Yep.
And I do tend to play, Not Now, if you've ever heard of them. Braden used to be in the band, Not Now.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And they actually had albums, and I do play them a fair amount.
Good.
So,
Well,
Why wouldn't you?
if someone else
Exactly.
wants theirs
Exactly.
it's
played,
my show.
well, listen,
If people want something else, they
Yeah,
can,
they
they
can
can
send
do
it.
their own show.
Yeah. And I've only had one complaint over
One.
when
Why
the
did
guy
Cheryl
was.
complain about you that day? I'm just
Well,
joking. Your wife, Cheryl. No, that was a joke.
It was just one complaint that I didn't play Frank Zappa. I had not played Frank Zappa ever in the show.
Really?
Why the heck not? Frank Zappa is a pioneer of prog rock, so I made it right.
So it was,
well, I
it
would have
was
turned that around as not a complaint, more so as a request.
suggestion.
Yeah,
It was more
but he
request.
seemed ired that I hadn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was kind of
passionate.
upset.
Yeah.
So I go, great idea, thanks for the input, and I put it on the next show.
Oh,
There you go.
wonderful. Good.
And you'd have experience anyway from being in council of how to acknowledge someone's complaint or
Absolutely.
suggestion and being able to, see
I
what you
didn't
can do
used
about
to.
it.
I didn't used to.
Oh, really?
In the old days, I used to react.
Yeah.
And
Take
send
it
things out
personal,
and
or-
emails out. You know that thing, what do they say? Do the email,
And then
Oh,
sleep
yeah.
on it?
park it, and then you'll
Yeah,
delete it the
that's
next
what
day.
they say
That's
to
what
do.
they say.
I know. It's really a good way to do it.
It is.
Yeah.
So you've matured,
Yes.
through the years of responding and thinking
Yeah,
things through.
matured in some ways.
Yeah.
That's a
Experience,
broad brush.
Yeah,
So.
experience and
So Rush is your favorite band of all time?
Absolutely, all
And
time.
Talk about that. Why?
I've seen them
Rush?
39 times
Really?
live.
Wow.
I saw them-
39.
Yeah, because I lived in Toronto. It was
Right.
easy. Like they'd be playing Hamilton. I'd just drive down the QEW, see them in Hamilton. They'd do a 3-night stand at Massey Hall. That's where I'm going to be for 3 nights in a row.
Yeah.
So it was easy to do when I lived in Toronto. But
Wow.
even when we lived here, we went back and did a family trip, in Montreal to see them on for the final tour. And we blew the bank. We did the VIP tickets.
whole-
Yeah. So the kids have seen Rush several times, and Cheryl's seen them like 6 times.
Yeah.
So we're a Rush family. It's because of Neil Peart that Braden's a drummer.
oh wow.
That inspired him.
Yeah, they used to be bouncing around in their car seats, and we'd be playing Rush, and they grew up on it.
Wow.
What
39
other
concerts.
type of Rush stories? You must have some stories of meeting the band or
No.
something.
Wow.
Did you break in the backstage any? Or?
You know what? On my show, on the radio show, between every song, I have little show IDs
Yeah.
by famous people.
Oh,
In
neat.
fact, I've got them listed here.
Yeah.
So-
Let's-
Let's
But
see
you got
this.
them. You got them to do it, or they?
Stalker.
Yes, and I've contacted
This right there.
that's right here.
Oh, there it is. Okay. Go ahead.
Well, there's a publicist pal of mine, and he's helped me out a lot. But some of them, like Mike Sadler of Saga, I contacted him directly, and he said sure. And a bunch of them I've contacted them, and they said sure, and they do a little blurb, and
Yeah.
this is whatever of whatever.
On
You listen to it.
CHSI. Yeah.
So,
Neat.
That is.
have you ever heard of Alan Cross?
No.
He's he's definitely a national radio guy. Andy Curran of Coney Hatch and Envy of None. So, then there's, of course, Gerald O'Brien. Gilmore of Triumph. John Young, Life Signs. Ronnie Platt, lead singer of Kansas.
Kansas.
Yeah, Michael Sadler of Saga. Steve Hackett of Genesis. Ross Jennings of Haken. Trevor Rabin from Yes. Mike Gray of Scammell and Gray Funkle. I'll tell you about that in a sec.
Okay.
And superstar drummer Braden Scammell, of course.
Yes,
Yes,
of course.
yes,
So-
yes.
Listen to my dad.
Oh, he's a great drummer.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we watch. We follow him on probably. I don't know
think
if
they
all
call
of us
it
do, but
Instagram.
is it Instagram?
Instagram.
We follow him?
I
We'll
watch
see
him on
the drumming
Yeah.
clips there that he'll do.
Well, he's at where he is right now in Newfoundland. They're in a rental apartment, so he doesn't have his real kit. He's got an electronic kit,
Okay.
but he's still whacking away and doing it,
Yeah.
which is great.
And try to remind me again what the other name is, the other boy.
Tyler,
Tyler. Yes.
he's a piano player.
I wanted to say.
Oh, is
Adam.
that so?
Yeah.
I wondered if he was a
Yeah.
musician
Have they ever
as
did
well.
that together?
Yeah, they did in
don't know
the
if
basement. They goofed around,
Oh yeah.
and I know Tyler. I think inside him he would love to get in a band, playing in a band, and he's had a taste of it. He's jammed with some guys, and I hope one day he gets a chance.
Yeah.
But
Tell us about that. Baby.
yeah, Scammell and Gray Funkle. My best friend is named Mike Gray. And he
Okay.
lives in Toronto, and he just when I was doing these station IDs, he did one. He sent it to me. Mike Gray of Scammell and Gray Funkle, like Simon and Garfunkel.
Yes.
And so I thought, I like it. And I threw it in there, and nobody ever
Questioned it.
has questioned me.
Well, I don't want to make it seem like I don't know who they are.
Yeah.
I know, Scammell and Gray Funkle. Do a Google search,
That is hilarious.
Oh, yeah, nobody said a word.
That's
I
funny.
nodded and everything.
Yeah, no
Yeah.
kidding.
But I haven't met Rush. Although I did meet Geddy Lee at the baseball game last year, because I wanted him.
Saw
I
your
would love for
photos
him
on
to do one of
Facebook.
those.
Yeah.
You know-
Spot ID spot.
Yeah,
promo.
but it was too rushed, and he was there. But I said, I'm Tim Scammell. I'm from New Brunswick. I just wanted to make sure I came over and said hello.
Yeah.
He says, it's nice to meet you. Shook my hands, but then he left because there were people waiting for him.
Yeah.
But that's my closest
And you
I've
had a
come.
good experience. with that, saying
Yeah,
hi and
yeah,
good.
Yeah, that was good.
Because you never know.
I know.
But you don't want to intrude.
You're
I know. I waited until the end of the game. Like I was, the seats behind home plate. He's seats
Yeah, he's right there.
right behind home plate.
Yeah. Just to the
And
left.
there was seats behind him, and they were empty in the 8th inning. And I thought, what the heck? I
Now's
can
my
go there.
chance.
So I sat behind him, but I had to wait for an inning and a half.
Just New Brunswick style, right?
Yep.
Yep.
And as soon as the game was over, that's when I said, hi, Getty, and whatever. We talked briefly.
And he would have, I'm sure, appreciated that you waited to the end of the game.
Yeah.
And,
But I wish I'd
but it's
done
risky.
the ID.
Yes. But you'll get another chance.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Don't see him at too many games this year.
No,
I don't
and
know
we
if you
were
watched.
at a
Wonder why.
game.
Yeah.
Well,
blame
also
them.
the way they've rebuilt those seats there, I can't do that. What I did before.
No, you couldn't do that now.
No, it's been completely redesigned.
You can't just cut
Yeah,
knock down.
renovated,
Yeah.
right?
But that's risky. It's one of your idols, one of your biggest, you're a big, huge fan. It's risky to
They say, "Don't meet
put
your
yourself
heroes."
out there and could go either way, right?
That's right.
So
Well, your
I'm glad it went good.
Your worst
Yeah.
nightmare would be the way if they reacted negatively or
Yeah, he
something.
goes,
you know?
security.
I know.
No, he was very cool. He said,
So we
nice
do
to
have
meet
a
you.
question.
Oh.
What is your Facebook page called? Is it Testing for Echo?
Testing for echo.
Testing for Echo. There you go, Nora.
Perfect.
Testing for Echo.
Yeah.
And if you'll get there.
Yeah, you'll find your
for
way
sure.
there. Well, we talked about your time in your current councillor on the Maryland Council, your radio show on CHSR, and now.
Yeah,
making
what
some
do you do
other
for like day jobs? Do you
Tell us about your engineering gig.
My
Tell us
my
what
day
you
job.
do. Yeah.
Yeah, like,
I mean, I'm
what
a
do you-
housing inspector for Housing New Brunswick.
Yeah.
It used to
Oh,
be
wow.
social development. Now
Yeah.
Hey, oh,
It's
yes.
a
corporation
corporation.
now.
Moved
Yeah.
it over, and so you went over there with those guys. And
Yeah,
I
so I-
suppose the work never ends.
Never ends.
No.
Right.
We have so many different programs and different things that we have to keep an eye on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
different needs.
So
and-
it keeps us busy, which is awesome.
yeah.
I've said publicly, I'll say it again, I'm going to work until I'm 70 because I love my job.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair warning.
Yep, that's right. That old guy in the desk there yelling at the,
Yelling at the new kids,
Yeah.
and the summer students, and
What would be
pencil, sharpen those pencils over there.
Well,
They're
see,
gonna be busy.
we have our own buildings, the buildings we have.
owned
around-
by the government?
Yeah, owned by the government. So when somebody vacates, I have to go in and assess what needs to be done to get it ready
For the
for
next-
the next people.
Right.
And unfortunately, sometimes it's a
lot
little
extensive.
There's a list.
extensive.
Yeah, anyone that's a landlord would know that too, to some degree, right?
Yeah. And we also do the rent supplement, as the landlords have their own properties.
Right.
We supplement the rent. And so I have to go in there and inspect
Assess
those.
it, the size, and
Yeah.
inspect it as well.
Well, the tiny homes,
Yeah.
12
12 communities.
Yeah,
Yep.
12 neighbors. That's one of my projects that I inspect.
Oh, that must be very fulfilling because that's fascinating.
Yeah, it's a bit challenging for them sometimes, but they're holding their own.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, what's some of the most fulfilling parts of the job?
Wow, gee, just I guess
To help pay to make sure you can work on Saturday at your radio show.
exactly. Yeah, get a paycheck. Holy cow.
But I guess seeing some families that
Yeah.
need support.
Well,
get
yes,
into the
because
homes.
sometimes there's one example that I think back to, and it was a single mother, and she lived in Dune Street. In one of the townhouses, and I thought, okay, Dune Street, there's a vacancy, and I'm going to go in. It's going to be a mess, and it was absolutely spotless, spotless. And she had what she'd done is she'd gone in there and worked and saved money, and she bought a house and moved out,
Yeah.
and she
She
left
left
that
it
place
spotless.
absolutely spotless.
Better than maybe when she found it.
Absolutely,
That's the whole
and
golden,
that's so
golden
cool.
rule there. Yeah.
Yeah,
Neat.
that's very, very rare.
So are you a technician or engineer? So
I'm a
tell us about your
technologist, a
background.
civil
And
technologist.
Where'd you gather that up at? Where'd you go to school?
Humber College in Rexdale, Ontario,
Okay.
or Etobicoke.
Right.
That's where I met Cheryl.
Okay.
Really, at
Yeah,
college? Wow.
Yeah.
Well, she's
And you guys
She's
just
salt of the
recently,
earth.
wasn't that too many years ago, you had a milestone anniversary. I
Yeah, it was
there,
our
gave
25th.
Yeah, I
That's
brought your
right.
certificates at the Ramada.
That's
25th, so you must be crowding 30 then. You must be
yeah.
getting
We're
30.
heading towards 30.
Yeah,
wow.
Yeah.
very good.
Feel old.
Yeah, Cheryl's just salt of the earth, wonderful person, so
She is.
you're
Thank you.
lucky.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say, yeah, she's lucky too.
Yeah. I was-
We'll give her a little.
sometimes.
She's fortunate. Anyway, you got a great support system there, and
Yeah.
I know as former legislators, we're very happy that you're so passionate about building inspections for the province of New Brunswick. So,
Yeah, yeah.
and you've been there a little while, a few years now.
Yeah.
Oh, it must be over
It's
10.
over 15.
15 is, yeah.
Well, nothing's always simple, right? So what I found different times with you was just kind of just figuring it out and you kind of helping communicate with people and people understanding and you know kind of
Knowing the programs.
yeah,
and how
getting
to-
in the
I
right
know.
steps, and it's just not always easy there. So you've done good to help people.
Well,
just
and
to
you,
kinda
you
point
deal with the tenants well too. I know you've worked on some files and projects in my riding over time too, and nothing but positive remarks back. So
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about one of your good friends, Willie O'Ree.
yeah,
What about him? Isn't he awesome?
Yes.
Yeah.
From
of a-
Fredericton, New Brunswick.
Willie who?
Willie O'Ree, the first black man in the NHL.
I know, right?
Yeah.
How cool is that? Right here
Yeah.
from Fredericton.
And he grew up with my father and my uncles.
Yes.
Like,
Okay.
they were buds.
And they were hockey players together, weren't they?
Yeah. I don't know.
Back in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure they did. Goofed around, did some shinny, but Dad told me, he used to tell me about Willie when I was a little kid living in Toronto. So I always knew who Willie O'Ree was. And so when we came here, of course, Willie and the Mazuka brothers are, best of pals. So he would always go to the coffee meetings.
Okay.
So that's why I have so many pictures of him,
guys
pictures
together.
with my kids,
Yeah.
and he was okay with a fanboy like me,
Scoop
You
it
can picture Mr. O'Ree, please?
Well, how'd you get in on the coffee meetings?
Well, there's a story.
I mean, as it relates to Willie O'Ree, not to
Well, that's just the coffee story in general, but when we moved here, my uncle Richard was coming into town from New York, and he says, I said, well, what are you guys doing? And he says, mentioned he's going to the coffee meeting on Saturday. And I go, what coffee meeting? He says, Mazuka's. I go, the paper, the magazine shop downtown? He goes, yeah. So, okay, well, I'll meet you there then. I'll check it out. So I went, and I was standing there, and I didn't know anybody, so I'm just sort of standing there. And then John Mazuka goes, can I help you?
Yeah.
he
What are you
goes-
doing here?
He goes, can I help you? And I go, yeah, I'm just here for a coffee. He goes, well, there's a coffee shop around the corner. Okay, so no problem. I go, okay. So I went and got the coffee, and I'm standing there, and then I started talking with, I believe it was David Sansom, and saying and mentioned my uncle Richard Scammell, and then John goes, "You're a Scammell?" And then so he takes the coffee out of my hand, which I've just bought, dumps it, and gives me
Have a
one of
good
his
coffee.
coffees.
Let's get your good coffee.
Yeah, so
You're in then.
then I was in.
That's
That-
awesome.
And how
Yeah.
many years ago was
That's
that?
the
You've been
history
going
and the
Oh.
legends.
That's
over 20, wouldn't it be?
It's
Longer
got to
than
be
that.
at least.
Yeah.
It's got to be at least.
And pretty much every Saturday you're meeting
Yeah,
with the
there
group
was we had to change locations here and there, and there was a little while I didn't go, and then one day John said, "Why the heck aren't you going to the coffee meetings anymore?" I saw him at the UMB game, and so I said, "Oh, I don't know, I've just been sleeping in." He says, "Well, wake up and go to the coffee meetings." So that's what I did. Kind of back to the routine.
So Willie was at these coffee meetings?
Yeah,
and
whenever
that's-
he's in town, he always goes to the coffee meetings, but he hasn't been in town for a while. But he's.
But you must have been very excited when he was inducted in 2018 into the Hockey Hall of Fame.
Yes, I looked after the social media
I
part
was
of
wondering
that.
what part you. Yeah.
Yeah, I did the blasting, and I was in touch with players, like Grant Fuhrer,
Right.
black players and stuff, and I was
Get some
posting
endorsements.
Yeah, and posting their stuff, and I was all over the. There was another fellow, and I'm trying to remember his name, but he was working out of New York, and he and I worked it together. Like we got everything and got ready. We're going to post this at 11 o'clock a.m. and boom, it's out there. So the world was getting inundated with Willie O'Ree.
Yeah. And it was a huge movement from the city
Yep.
and actually internationally to get Willie inducted into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
It was-
I wouldn't have understood if he didn't get in.
Yeah,
Of course, it was
I know.
it was a given.
Yeah. But it still took a
wasn't
lot of work.
ideal. Yeah,
It did.
It wasn't easy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why do we have to work so hard for something
great
so?
story.
So
Seems
obvious.
So easy, yeah.
Yeah.
So are you a Boston fan? Because Willie played with Boston.
You know what?
Correct?
I was a Boston fan because of Bobby Orr.
Okay.
My whole life, Bobby Orr is my absolute hero.
Right.
Sports-wise, and so I was one of those. I was the worst kind of supporter that a team could have because, my uncle Richard worked for Montreal Canadiens, and he
I
played
imagine
in.
Toronto would still take you, though.
Yeah, but then Toronto, when I'm in Toronto, of course, I cheer for Toronto. Unless they're playing against Montreal, then I have to think, okay. But Bobby Orr, so the Bruins, and so I bounce around. I jump on and off that wagon. I have no pride. So,
What a great player, though. Bobby
yeah,
was.
He was. He was.
Have you had a chance to meet him yet?
No. Nope. And that's another one of those things. I tell people if I could meet the guys in Rush, which I can't now, obviously, because one of them's gone, and Bobby Orr, I'm happy. I'm good.
Yeah.
You know? But I did speak to him on the telephone.
Did you?
Yes.
And what was that? Why? How'd that come about?
See, I was wondering if he was going to be coming to Canada sometime. So this sounds so stalkerish, but I swear to God, I just
Well, you got to put yourself out there.
I
when you're a
know, but
fan.
I just did a thing.
Well, you
you know,
can't-
Bobby Orr. I knew he lived in
Gotta
some
ask.
place in whatever, and I saw. I just did a search, and it brought up some phone numbers. So I tried the first two, didn't work, and the third one, I go, "Hi, is this Bobby Orr's house?" And she goes, "Yeah." And I said, "Can I speak to Bobby?" She goes, "Yeah, hold on a sec."
And the heart must have.
Screening or
Oh
anything.
yeah, and what
heart
am I going to
must have
say?
just
What am I going to? Maybe I should hang up. Probably he was very cool. Like I said, and when I mentioned Richard Scammell, or when I mentioned the name Scammell, I think maybe he knew my uncle.
Right.
So that calmed him down from this guy calling from Canada. I said I was just calling to say hi, and I was wondering if you're going to be coming to Canada, so I can meet you. You know, you can sign my book in person. Like I've got a book.
Yeah.
I've got several books, you know, about him, but.
What would he say?
He was in the process of moving to North Carolina.
So he was busy.
And he says, I don't have any plans to go to Canada in the near
In
future.
the near future, no book.
But he says, if we're in a room together, please make sure you come over and talk to me.
Nice.
generous.
That was nice.
Yeah.
You know.
And just like I would expect.
Yeah.
That was good.
Yeah.
That was good. But wouldn't it be interesting to organize an event then and have him come up,
Wouldn't it?
make an event around it, and
You're big on projects. You worked on a number of
sell
different
tickets
projects here.
and
that-
have him
That's-
come
that's
be
pretty
guest.
big.
You could say, remember, this is me, Tim.
Yeah.
I'm
Oh
calling back
yeah,
now.
that's
Still have my book.
Stalker from Ontario, Stalker from Canada.
Canada.
Yeah.
But
Well,
then,
that leads us to another thing.
Yeah.
Since
Yeah.
he worked on projects,
York,
lots of projects.
the York Station project. Tell us about that.
yeah, how
Yeah.
did you get involved with that?
Okay. Well,
So everybody around
Just to
now
help
would
everyone.
obviously recognize it as the liquor store in York Street.
That's it.
But
they don't remember how it used to look.
right, most don't.
Okay, I'm going to go into stories because I like telling you guys
Tell us.
Yeah.
stories.
Yeah, we like hearing your stories.
Back when we lived in Ontario, in Mississauga, I used to take the boys to a park almost every day, and it was right beside the train tracks. So the trains would go by, and the boys, wherever they were in the park, they could hear it coming. They'd run and they'd wave and everything.
You count the cars or no?
No, they just waved to the
okay.
engine and stuff, and once in a while they get a honk back. Not very often because the thing was going too fast. But we loved trains. And then one day I was here, and it hadn't occurred to me, like a couple of months or whatever. I guess I'm slow on the uptake, but I go, when was the last time I saw a train? And then I realized that the trains weren't in Fredericton at all anymore. So I asked a friend of mine, I said, well, is there any traces of the train? And I found out about the York Street Station. I go, I've driven by that heap,
Yeah.
you know, and
and
it
down
looks,
building.
awful. But that was then I discovered that was the station. So then I decided that's my cause. Because my grandfather used to be a railway man,
Oh yeah.
you know, on the north side.
And our grandfather was.
And great
Yeah, there's a lot of that.
Yes, yes. out in
And without the railways, the country wouldn't have been built, you know.
No, yeah.
North America wouldn't have been built.
Right. So that's when I ran into Bill Thorpe and the Fredericton Friends of the Railway. And that was a pretty solid group back then. And we worked hard, and we'd go to City Hall meetings and speak to the Planning Advisory Committee. We're always trying to do something. We were always talking to the owner, like, you know, trying to get some ideas. And then Bill passed, you know, and then I guess when he passed, it sort of felt maybe the members of the committee, whatever, they felt it was sort of a lost thing. And I was at the point where I wouldn't even drive by the station anymore because it was just, you know, it was so sad. You know, it made me sad. But Brad and I had become friends, you know, over the station. We'd become buddies.
Here, Woodside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so he didn't give up either. And then one day I got a phone call from the owner and from MB Liquor saying, we're having a press conference, we'd like you there. And I said, absolutely, I'll be there. Before this, when I decided to run for council, I thought I should probably not be poking, you know, city officials and stuff like that, you know. So Steve Boyko took over as the president. And then Steve moved out west, so I took over back as president. So I was president again.
Wow.
And so that's when they called me and they said, come on out. And then people were asking, well, are you upset that it's a liquor store? I go, are you kidding me? It's better than a heap of rubble. I don't
Yeah.
care what it is. You know, and the back section of the station had been a baggage compartment, which was added later. And they said, we're not going to fix that up because that's not original. I said, I'm good with that. So I just told the whole world that I was happy, and you know, the owner was happy with me,
Yeah.
and we got it done.
Well, that was great work.
Yeah.
Perseverance and networking and
I
relationships.
sort of took over as president, like when Spill passed and there was nobody else around. It was just,
Yeah.
okay, I'm president.
Well, that's got to be one of your highlights of
great
your
cause.
Yeah.
life, really. Of
Yeah, it
accomplishing-
was. Well, and then it's funny, my son worked there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
how interesting is that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He worked there for MB Liquor.
Yeah.
MBLC.
Yes.
Well, I guess you're not sad anymore driving by.
No,
That's nice.
absolutely not. Very happy. Although I'm keeping an eye on the roof and stuff, and
Yep.
you know, fix that shingle there.
Right.
So MB Liquor owns that now?
Yeah.
That building? Yeah. They
Well,
own
no, they don't.
They don't.
It's still owned by the owner.
it. JDI, is it?
Yeah.
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 So they had a little lease agreement.
Yeah, they had
It was a good way to get it,
Yeah, and it was a longer lease agreement than usual.
to be able to allow for that
Yep.
funding.
That's good.
Yeah, it worked out very well.
Well, another group that you're.
But they don't use the room now for community
No, they don't.
events. What
It's
was
used
that?
for desks and stuff now, like
Why
offices.
did they stop that?
I'm
it
not
was
positive.
It was a really nice
It was.
little
Maybe it
room
was
to
COVID.
do-
And
Maybe
it hasn't been
COVID
that long
started.
ago.
It might have
yeah.
been. It might have been COVID.
Maybe, because it hasn't been that
We
long.
were there for something like
Brian's,
all together.
one of Brian
Well, do you
McDonald's
remember John
launches.
Oliver? Do you guys
Who?
remember John Oliver?
Oh,
Oh, he was an architect that lived downtown, and he was actually one of the Friends of the Railway. When he passed on, we actually had an event there. And
Yeah,
it was
yeah,
beautiful in this.
A service,
It's
you
a
mean?
great
A celebration of life
Yeah,
right there?
a
Oh,
celebration
nice.
of life.
Yeah, it's a great little. It was a great little stand-up reception area.
Yeah.
And,
Very good.
Yeah, although I'm still glad that it's just standing,
yeah.
Yeah.
doing whatever.
yeah,
So
yeah.
do you see any other old architecture around that's kind of, that you go by and you say, wonder if that could be a
Well, no,
project somewhere? Or,
Well, the Hart
Too many.
Boot and Shoe Factory was on its way, and that got taken care of.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I'm pretty good with the city right now.
Yeah.
You know,
That's great.
and we just have to do New Maryland. We have to look after that little church.
Yes, the
Right.
Anglican
You know.
church.
and they have a committee there that's working on
Yeah,
that.
and
They're
that's
doing a good
being
job.
worked on.
I know, it's beautiful.
Is
Progress
it,
being
is,
made.
it a, is it an independent committee or is it?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, just a community group.
Yeah.
Yep, to restore the
Are they
Anglican
called
church.
New Maryland Historical Society, maybe, or something like that?
That sounds about right.
Mm.
Yeah.
Judy Wilson, she's involved, Mac Burns, and there's quite a committee. And
Well, and John LaRue was there at the very
John
beginning.
LaRue helped us out
How
too.
we
He's in
navigate.
it.
Yeah.
He's great.
Oh yeah,
The
he was
inside of that.
he was my favorite part of the Friends of the Railway.
I bet.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
when he would go to a city hall and start speaking. Like I've always loved listening to John.
Yeah, yeah.
just
Very
knows-
knowledgeable,
just knowledgeable.
passionate,
Just
of
knows it,
course,
yeah.
too.
Yeah.
But it's easy to work with, like good communicator.
Oh, such a great guy.
Yeah.
Just an all-around nice guy.
That's what we'll have.
Have
on
we
the show
had him on?
sometime.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know
Stand
what?
up
That would be a
idea.
great show.
We should.
Yeah.
Let's call him right now. Yeah, we got time.
John, would you be on our show?
We've done that before. We called her mom from here live one time.
Yeah.
Just without even her knowing, we just
Yeah.
called her up.
Hi. What you doing? Oh, well, Dave's going, taking Paisley somewhere down the road or something.
I think that's when we were
During
there.
COVID, we weren't
Their
allowed
Zoom
to be going
days.
out. It's like, oh, geez, Mom, no, you didn't mean you were going next door.
Yeah, yeah.
You're supposed to be.
Kind of just looking next door, maybe.
That's
Yeah.
what I thought. That's
Yeah,
what
Jack.
The Red Wings, the Fredericton Red Wings.
Tell us about
What's your role with
Yes.
them, and
Yeah.
tell us about the team and how, what's
I
all
can't
that
tell you
about?
too much about it, but I'm Tim the Ticket Man.
Yes.
So I sell, and Cheryl.
Right, you have some help.
Yeah, Cheryl and I, we sell 50-50 tickets at every game. We try to be there for every game. Like if something is up, then they
make
do have people that can
arrangements.
step in,
Right.
but we are
But
the
that's your
50-50.
main role is the 50-50.
Yeah,
That's
so I
great.
don't know about the goings on and stuff.
Right, you're not there. We're not
No.
here to speak on behalf
No,
of the
I'm
team
here
or
to.
anything. But you love
when the
the
game's
team.
over, I can leave.
But you're a fan of the team, of
Yes.
course, as well. and
Yes,
they're all doing
I
a
always
great
wish
job.
them luck.
Since day one.
Yeah, and Roger Shannon's a solid guy.
Yes.
Great general manager. You know, if anyone knows hockey, it's him.
Who else was in here? Then they always did something with the Red Wings.
Oh, wasn't it?
Dave Morrell?
No, it wasn't Dave that's coming to mind, but
Something the same idea, like someone, maybe Nora can tell us. We're on there watching, but there was someone that.
Were they on the
Oh
show?
no, yeah, they were on our show.
Was
I
it
thought.
Wayne?
No, it was like something like what you do. I think they just.
Oh, just there as a volunteer.
Something like that. Now it might come to us. Anyways, I wondered if you maybe knew him. I don't remember now, but
Well, Tim would know him if he does
yeah.
volunteer.
it wasn't
work
John
there.
Foley, but it was.
Oh, okay.
We'll have to go
Somebody.
back in the
Sometimes they're
archives
great with
for that.
faces, but not with names.
Yeah.
Yeah,
know.
you think you have to write everything down. Look at us here.
Getting
So
old.
you
my
enjoy
goodness.
you enjoy that, obviously. You
Oh
enjoyed
yeah,
it
it's
and part of the
someti-
team.
Although I am going to work next year to get our table moved because I can't
tell
see
us about
any of
that.
the game
Right.
Really?
from where I am. Like I have to stand up, and I'm not
That's
going
the
to, leave Cheryl by herself with the money and stuff, and
No,
so
good.
she'll get up and go and do something, but we can't see the game. So there's got to be a different place we
Gotta
can
have
put
a,
us.
gotta have a
Well,
happy.
this should be part of the negotiations for next season.
Absolutely.
Where you're prepared to.
When I want to raise from getting zero
Yes.
to make zero.
Yeah, just give you a spot.
You want a 10%
Maybe up
increase.
behind
I'm in it for the
score
glory.
clocks. Up behind the score clocks or somewhere in one end. Or the
Surely
other.
Yeah.
you could work that.
What,
Yeah.
what does the other 50%, the other part of the 50?
It goes to
back
the education fund for the players.
players.
Okay.
Nice. That is
That
a
is
great
excellent.
initiative. That's
Well,
awesome.
Roger's so smart about that stuff because he's worked with the younger players, bringing them up through his prospects and things, and just he's worked in the junior system too. So he understands what's important.
Well,
for
because
those
he
kids.
hangs around with some big brains.
Yeah.
Gardner is a pal of his, and
know,
Dave
huh?
Morrell is a pal of his, and
Yeah.
And I just saw the picture there a couple weeks ago or last week with yourself, Gardner McDougall, Roger Shannon, and Dave Morrell.
you know what? The guy was with Steve Clements.
Steve, yeah.
Yeah, he won an auction for that lunch.
Okay.
So then he just, out of the blue, he messages me, said, "You want to go for lunch with Dave Morrell and Gardner?" I go, "Absolutely." And then he contacts Dave, and Dave goes, "Yeah, I know Timmy." So we went out, we had a blast.
Yeah.
You
Looked
know,
like you had a great time.
we're really going to miss Gardner, of course.
Yeah.
Like
I know.
the most
What a great
winning
catch for
winning
Moncton.
coach ever.
Yeah. But he's an hour and a half away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
and he'll
And he's-
still live here.
They
I'm
still
sure.
live in
Yes.
going to live in Maryland,
Yes.
like they live in Maryland.
That's one thing
think
I made sure I asked him. There's because
part of
his
the
wife
contract.
his wife insists that they stay in New Maryland.
Perfect.
good.
That's
Yeah.
yeah.
So that's very important.
What else is on
Great
your
guy,
list?
though.
What else is on
Yeah.
your list?
Oh, geez, I don't
What do you got
know.
on
You guys have done really
We're gonna
well.
change this radio station show up any and keep going as you're going. Any goals for that?
The show I just put into the can. I think I used some. Oh, what is it called? It was kind of metally, sort of. And I listened to it after. I thought, might be a little too heavy for the show. Like I get back a little bit to the.
Like
to the
bluegrass or?
Yeah, well, not bluegrass. Well, yeah, I do. I even the recent Robert Plant. He does bluegrass.
With Alice Krauss. You mean-
Yes, of
yeah,
course.
Yeah.
So I like that kind of stuff too. And
Neat.
People. I've had people say, "Well, is that prog?" And I go, "No, no, it's not." But it's a guy I heard, I liked.
Right. Throw one in.
Oh, it's
Yes.
fine.
So it's just like whatever the heck I like.
Good.
Yeah,
Feels good.
yeah, and that raunchy stuff. I don't think I'm going to do too much of that because it might be a little over the top.
Yeah.
But it's
What
a
are
great
s-
song. But
What are some of your guiding principles or philosophies that we've talked about your work, your day job, your volunteerism, your family? I don't know if you gave some pointers to maybe up and comers that are looking at getting involved, young people maybe. What sort of messages would you give?
involved in
Either the
just
community
overall.
or overall in life? And
Be aware of what's going on. Like when I first ran for council, well, Cheryl actually was at the village office and she was speaking with the clerk at the time, or the CO, and she said, "Tim should run for council." And it's like Cheryl said, she said this. And I go, "What?" Like I'd never been political at all in my whole life. But then I thought, you know what? I'm going to go. I sat in council meetings. All of them.
Did
Like
some research.
every single month, I'd sit in the meetings, and then when I became the home and school president at New Maryland Elementary, I
I
thought
didn't
I
know
am
that.
going to do when it comes time for the public input, I'm going to do the activities of the school.
right.
So, but I would tell people, sit there, be involved, listen, because maybe you won't like it. If it's
Right.
not your bag, don't
Research it first.
Right. So definitely don't say yes to everything, because some people do say yes to everything. I've gotten to the point now where I can't say no, because I've got a better measure of my time and what's available.
Yeah.
So if someone says, "Hey, can you do?" And I go, "No, not this time."
Yeah, that's
okay.
for a lot of people. It's a learned thing, isn't it?
Yeah,
To learn
it is. It is. You have to understand, well, this used to take me this long to do this, so maybe that's too much.
Yeah, and that's okay.
I think the
Yeah.
research is a great advice at all levels.
Yep.
You know, you're municipal, but it's a message for all levels of government. If you're thinking you want to do it, you should sit in and listen and learn it
Yep.
before you jump in and understand what your expectations are and what your goals can be and what they can't be.
Yeah.
Do some shadowing as
It's
well.
great
Yeah.
advice, Tim.
And if you
Shadowing.
love it,
Shadowing, yeah.
that's great. And if you don't, then there you go, lesson learned,
And that's good too.
right?
It's great advice.
What else do you do? What else do you do? Do you have time for?
What else do I do?
Wouldn't be much.
I don't do much else.
Have
Well,
you gone
it's
on
pretty.
any
It's a
recent-
lot there, isn't it?
Yeah,
little
I'm kind of
vacations?
full.
Have you and Cheryl gone away on any vacations lately in the last
Our
while?
vacations usually consist of Ontario these days. Like,
Go back and see the old neighborhoods and
yeah, we used, well, her father is still there, which is great. We love going to visit her, you know, Cheryl's father.
Did anyone tell you that you look a little like Dick Cheney? Has that been ever mentioned, or I'm the last
yeah.
person to say
It
that?
has not. No, I've never heard
Never
that
heard
before.
that? Yeah,
Well, I'm
actually,
sitting
now that
here
you mention
thinking,
it,
I'm
it's
saying
like,
no.
Bald guys.
Cheney, yeah.
You can't come
Don't
up with
suit
The
us.
Rock or something?
Yeah,
Yeah, you look like The Rock.
yeah. That's yeah.
Here's an
you'll have to
interesting
do
thing.
Okay.
Come up with an
What
impersonation.
does, okay, this is a
Don't
new
pull
game.
out
What
the
does he look
shotgun.
like?
Don't pull
Yeah,
out the
don't
shotgun.
shoot us.
Yeah.
Right. We're not going hunting with you anytime soon.
But I think you could pull that off.
I think so.
Pull what off?
The Dick Cheney
Could do an
impersonation.
impression. Yeah. Have to research that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Here's something that we've not talked about, but you're on Facebook a lot about it, and it's something that you've been kind of working at, I think, especially since your dad's passed. But all of the photos and the negatives and the slideshows,
Oh, my.
like there
Yeah.
must be thousands.
Yeah.
And he documented everything when you guys were kids, like all your scout trips and all this
Oh,
stuff.
my goodness.
Outdoor
And the ones
range.
you're seeing are only a portion of actually, like, there was many of them I just said, I'm throwing this, like, if I don't know the person or whatever. But, oh, yeah, my goodness, there were thousands. And I don't remember at the time him taking so many pictures because it was just part of the scenery. But he took a lot of pictures.
Yes.
Took a lot of pictures.
But at least I'm getting them out there. And there's the, I grew up in Willowdale in the 70s group on Facebook. And that's a very important group to me. And that's where most of my passions are. And I post all of those there and the people love them.
Oh yeah, I bet.
You know, they see all the Boy Scouts and they go, hey, that's me, or hockey, that's me. And
But we can see, or I can see. I've noticed from looking at all of these stages of your life growing up that your dad made sure that you guys got to see
Yeah.
a lot of North America at least,
well, you know what?
You've been-
Yeah, for sure.
and documented it all.
Yep.
Back in the days when it was, I don't know what kind of, I forget the kind of camera they would have used, and just click, 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 click.
But you know what it was? His cousin worked at Kodak. And so Dad would be, go off on trips, and we'd go off on vacation. He'd come back and give it to Andrew, and Andrew would develop it for free.
Right. Sure.
So that was handy, but like,
Yes, came in handy
it's not handy later on when you want to look and see this thing.
to sort through and
Like,
see them. Yeah.
you've got to find a projector.
I'm just trying to see if I remember who.
Who that was?
Oh, this guy.
Morgan?
What?
Oh, Morgan Peters.
Morgan
What's that
Peters?
Morgan
Morgan
Peters?
Peters.
This guy there, I don't recognize
Well,
him.
Morgan goes to a lot of games.
But I thought maybe that's what it was. He
Because
goes
Red
to
Wings
games.
they're a member of the CHCO, I believe. and he goes
You
to-
had a guy on the show, and I wish I could remember his name, but it was just a couple of weeks ago. And I believe he was one of the owners of the team, if I'm not mistaken.
Owners of the
An
Red
older
Wings?
chap. He was wearing a jacket.
Oh, Bill Saunders was on with
Bill.
us.
No, it wasn't Billy.
George
we had
was
Ken
on.
McGeorge last week.
No, wait, that him.
That's him?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
Ken McGeorge.
Ken McGeorge.
no.
He's
Yeah,
a
what's-
healthcare
He's a
expert,
healthcare-
administrator.
There's some connection. I know I've seen him at every game.
Oh, really?
Oh,
Okay, maybe
maybe.
he goes, yeah.
Yeah,
maybe he is
probably.
co-owner. I don't know.
We
We
spoke
never...
about hockey.
I think he won the 50-50 once.
Well,
Okay.
that would
And he-
put you in 50% ownership? I don't know.
So he puts the money in and gets it back.
That was a good show. We've gotten great feedback. Actually, a lot of our shows, great
do.
feedback to
And I
have.
don't expect anything different from this one.
No.
'cause,
Oh
Tim,
my
you're,
gosh, no.
you're
We can't have Tristan come in and do a musical interlude.
Oh, we could
To-
maybe
to-
just
to
we'll
pop up
weave
the
it in.
ratings?
Maybe we could weave it in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll leave it in.
Photoshop it in somehow, edit
Edit
it
that.
in.
Yeah.
What, are we
we're
done?
gonna wrap up the show. What
Yes,
would you
we
like
are.
to end with? What,
Thanks for having me, guys. It was worth the wait, wasn't it?
It was.
It was worth the
we-
wait.
yeah,
We've been
we-
trying to line this up for a while, Tim and I.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've never.
We switched to Thursdays just because of you.
Yeah, I heard that. That's awesome because we kept
Wednesday's
having that.
council, and we're like, gee, we gotta be at 10. We gotta move nights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh,
thank
it's
you
been-
very
it's been
much.
a pleasure. It
Thank you
really
very
has.
much, Tim. We love
Thanks,
you.
Tim, always
It
a
was
good
awesome.
friend.
Good
It's
to
awesome.
hear.
You're-
Good to have some time with you to hear some
Yeah.
more insight
It is.
of how you're thinking.
See what I can get up for next time.
Well, it'll be hard to top this one. This
I know
was
it
a
will
great
be.
show. The community, Greater Fredericton, New Maryland community, we're better off having you and your family in this community with us. So thank you for everything that
Gee,
you've
you know what?
contributed.
I'm going to say something too. I'm going to miss having cars,
Yeah,
having a car.
elected.
As a
Yeah.
member
Yeah.
of the
Yeah.
legislature.
So
Well,
I'm
we
going to miss
appreciate
you
that.
because you've done well. You did. You know, both of you did very good for the village.
Well,
You know,
Well, thank you.
we appreciate that.
Yeah.
We love the village.
So we appreciate those comments,
We do, Tim. We do
you're
appreciate
welcome.
it.
and we appreciate our. Oh,
Reciprocal.
yep. We appreciate our viewers as well on
Yes,
the Carr
we do.
Brothers
Yes,
show,
sir.
and having Tim Scammell, a New Maryland councillor and a radio show host on CHSR. You can Google that and get his weekly
Saturdays at 3:00
Saturdays at
and
3.
Tuesday
3.
mornings at 7:00.
Check
Perfect.
it out.
Well,
yes.
great.
Check out our YouTube channel, too.
Yeah, we're on
Yeah.
YouTube.
I know
Carr
that.
Brothers.
We're on the YouTube.
I found it today and I
Yeah.
subscribed.
If you miss an episode, you can find it on Facebook Live or go back on
Yep.
check it out on YouTube.
And we're-
Subscribe and hit the notification bell.
And tell everybody to go and check out my first show with Gerald O'Brien on the radio show that is on the website.
Okay.
Because it's a cool listen if you listen to the stories he tells.
Perfect. On CHSR, Google that. You can go read on the website.
That's right.
see it.
Testing for echo.
Well,
Testing for-
good night, guys.
Okay, good night.
Good night,
Thanks
everyone.
for
See ya.
joining us.